think we have all heard that data is the new oil, and data is increasingly becoming a retail's operating system, right? So here we are not here to talk about how we collect the data, but more around how data aids in decision making. For this, we have a privilege of experts who have a deep specialization in this area. So let us get into the crux of the discussion. So let's start with a quick pulse check, right, to understand what is your view about the data and the tech right now. Okay. My question is to all panelists, right? We can start from Arunachalam and then to Kamal. So in the last 1-2 years, what is the biggest decision that your organization has made because of the shift of data from reporting to a real-time action?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Arun from Chevtram. Your question is, yes, the retail, especially grocery industries, is going for complete change now. Because earlier the people, they've been huge data. Anyhow, every retailer having a huge data. They just store the data, they analyze the data, what happened. They don't analyze what need to be done. Now the things completely getting changed. What need to be done and what will happen next. That's what Decisive way they're going also. So now if you check my operation team, my store team, they don't want to see the sales data, what's happening there. They want to see the real time, how my promotion is running, how my price is able to impact the promotions, where I'm able to do the wastage in time. This is what they're looking for that. Because earlier times, if you give the daily data report of sales report, they were happy.
Yes.
Now they are not happy with that. They're looking for something which they can do in real time.
Yeah, makes sense. I think this is what we have also seen, right? It's not only about the data, but what are the recommendations or takeaway that you can get from the
That's
data.
the way one.
So over to you, Sasti.
Thanks for the question. So I can say one decision that has completely changed for us is how we run the merchandising and supply chain, particularly in season. So earlier, processes like initial allocation, replenishment, markdown, all of them used to get driven by experiences, gut feeling, and by large Excel sheets, right? And no doubt that the merchandisers are brilliant, but they used to work with delayed data as well as static reports. So obviously, when a decision is made, the customer has already gone, right? So this entire process has completely changed now, and it's been taken over by AI and machine learning driven engines, right? Where you are taking decisions based on like the real-time data analysis, the AI model passes the recommendation, and it goes out into action. So for example, for replenishment, earlier what used to happen is our replenishment process was on sell one, get one operating model. And this used to be handled mostly by the merchandisers. And when there is a peak period, they used to manually transfer the stocks to the stores, right? It definitely used to cause revenue leak, obviously, leakage, because there were anticipations that, okay, this particular merchandise need to be present in that particular store. But what happens is, in this particular process, you are going through stock outs and obviously loss of sales, right? Now, demand forecasting driven processes, replenishment process is actually taking care of that. And it is optimizing the right SKU to be present at the right store at the right time. And hence, maximizing availability and minimizing the loss of sales. Similarly, for markdown processes as well, initially, the markdown processes were calculated over Excel sheets by the merchandisers. It used to take minimum 3 to 4 days for one particular simulation. And that also used to be based on the discount metrics defined by the brand, right? But now the price elasticity model as accompanied by the optimization model, it's taking care of multiple simulations within a couple of hours, as well as it is actually maximizing either revenue or sell-through or margin. So this is how, like, it has changed. The retail landscape is being changed by AI.
Fair. I think you have highlighted a couple of points, right? I think we'll delve deeper later on those topics. But just quick reaction, right? What is your view that going forward in the next 5, 10 years, will all the decisions be made through assisted AI support, or will there be a gut feeling factor still exist after 5, 10 years?
See, I would say gut feeling is not something through which business should run. But while AI is taking decisions or giving recommendations, human oversight is something non-negotiable because human in loop has to be there. It is definitely bringing up this, speed of decision making and creating recommendations, but ultimately the decision maker is human. So over there, not gut feeling, but their experience of the business works, and that is very important in the process.
Great, fair. Over to you, Shaikh.
Good morning, everyone. I am Sheikh Makbul, Chief Technology Officer from Al Jazeera Markets, Saudi Arabia. Basically, I came from grocery retail world where margins are thin, decisions are frequent, and over the past, as a Chief Technology Officer, my focus has been less on flashy, colorful, beautiful dashboards, but more on one simple question: can my store manager, buyer, and supply planner trust the data to act on it immediately? Over the past few years, couple of 2-3 years, we have moved from after the fact reporting to the real-time insights. Okay, I have seen, as my 27 years of experience, a complete transformation of how we operate the grocery business. Earlier, we used to, print the stock sheets, okay, on a dot matrix printer, and we share to the stores, okay. Arnachalam is familiar. And then the store staff, take what they need to replenish. So the replenishment price changes were reviewed weekly or fortnightly. So by the time the reports reach to the store staff, the momentum has gone. Okay. Now there is a dramatic shift with the digitalization, AI, and machine learning. Okay. Now the store staff no longer have to wait for weeks in order to make their pricing decisions and replenishment decisions. But with the help of real-time analytics and the real-time data, okay, they do a pricing decision, okay, almost on the same day. Okay. And the replenishment also, as the stock goes out of the shelf, immediately the stores, the system triggers the event to replenish the stock. Okay. So this is the dramatic change that has happened in the past few years.
Great. I think thanks for sharing your thoughts. One quick question is that obviously, as you highlighted, that technology is key, but equally important is people, right? So how can you ensure that the frontline team or the execution team, right, is using or trusting the system to act upon these, right? What are the cadence, what are the SOPs that you are setting up for the people to trust the system?
See, for the data, trust is the paramount. Okay. Now, one of the main challenge most of the retailers face across the system is disintegrated systems. Okay, they have the POS, ERP, e-commerce, loyalty, CRM, each of them working in silos, okay, and each system telling a different version of the story, and the trust erodes from the staff. When each system tells a different line of story, okay, then the store manager, okay, start, uh, you know, not trusting the data and rely on their gut feelings.
Fair. Fair. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Over to you, Umesh.
Yeah, I mean, most of my panel members have covered a lot of topics. And yes, the whole retail industry is going through this change right now. In our case specifically, I'm talking from more of a marketing perspective, is that what has changed in the last 1 to 2 years is that we have tried to move away from a calendar-based events to a more of a pulse-based event. So earlier we used to have these 4 seasons. Okay, there's a back to school, there's a national day, there's Ramadan and all this stuff, and we used to every year plan the same thing, all the ordering, replenishment, marketing activity. But now it is more moving towards the pulse-based reactions, wherein even in a non-seasonal period, there can be reactions like suddenly you see a offload of organic products happening in one of the particular store during midweek. And then this is a pulse reaction on which we have to enact and we need to personalize our communications to the customers who are picking up that organic products during that time, and also the replenishment of those products in that particular time. So that is one of the variable. Second thing, I think what has changed is that my colleague was also mentioning the amount of data. So we are talking about right now, we are capturing, we also have beautiful dashboards in which we are capturing close to 150 odd different behavioral variables of customers. Now, each variable can tell you a different story. And that's where the AI and machine learning comes in, wherein we are able to capture the essence of that data and try to take decisions based on the essence of that information rather than looking at all the variables and looking at millions of interactions which customers are doing with me. So how to take a knowledgeable decisions on that data, and that's where the human centricity also comes in, is something which is becoming very important in the retail world right now.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Umesh. Just hold that thought on personalization and human centricity. We'll get back later on that. Kamal, what are your thoughts?
I guess we have covered quite a few topics now. But if I were to summarize at least this round of queries, starting with your question on data and dashboards, if you will, then driving all the way into the decisive action making. I think when you think about dashboards, if you will, and try to bring it more to a personal life, it's like looking at your rear view mirror and driving the car, right? And I think over the period, what has happened is that many of us have realized that that's not enough at the organization level, and so you start looking at dashboards, which is going to tell you a story about what's near and now. And so with that mindset, I guess people have started looking and saying, can we use data to do time travel? Which is not about just looking at what happened in past, what's near and now, but also what's something that's going to come on my way towards where I want to be. And while many of that information stack has been made available to us through technology, through stacks, through AI, but now the question that begs to be answered is, while we have those information in front of us for taking decisive actions, is it to be done by a human or by a system? And for us to gain confidence in system to act on behalf of humans, it's about making sure that there is enough intelligence available to individuals through cognitive searches, through human searches, whereby people can say, yep, this is not going to have a dire impact to my organization because of material influences or because of my contractual obligations, And hence, from a comfort of my customer, I'm more than happy to open those interfaces to be managed by a system, where decisive actions have to happen in real time. I mean, can you imagine if you're driving a car and you're looking at a Google map, but there is a human in the loop? You'll never get to your destination, right? So you've got to trust the system at some point in time, and you have to let that open. However, that said, if you're going to cut a check for $1 million dirhams, I don't think you're going to trust the system just based on the intelligence it has, you still need the human in the loop. And I think that's something which I believe is a key takeaway in our organization, which is, yes, it's important, but it begs the question around data and the different attributes of data, which is the high value data assets. Understanding what those are within your organization and then planning strategically towards leveraging them, I think becomes a foundation. I'm pretty sure you want to double click on many of those topics. So.
Sure, sure. So I think the one thing that you have highlighted, right now, I think we are at that stage where we can trust the navigation and all, but we can't trust for a 1 million check or something, right? What are your view, or what do you think where the market or the whole world will be after 5 years? Will we see a more use cases of AI cutting across all type of use cases?
I mean, we all would love to have a crystal ball to ourselves and see what that answer would be like. But, if I were to speculate and strictly speculate on where we would be based on what we have experienced in today's day and age, I think the bridge between the intelligence which is available through systems and data and the intelligence that sits with human will continue to converge. And I don't think it would it would be unfair for me to say that it will come very close. That said, I think humans also have a tendency of, learning, if you will, and it's not just restricted to systems. So when you talk about machine learning, there's also an important element of human learning, and I guess we would learn as much as the systems would. And then over a period, I think we will become much smarter in leveraging technology and the AI that is available to us. And I wouldn't be surprised that there would be an area and element where we would have a sovereignty, which is what we have been talking about in many forums, kind of overlay a guiding principle as well as law that secures individuals in leveraging technology and AI much more, whereby every individual will have multiple agents, and so the agents are talking as much as humans are, but both of them would live more symbiotically in achieving a common goal. And so I think over a period of 5 years, it's a lot to be covered, but I think we can progress much faster than what we have done in past, and that would be my case, if you will.
Great. I think thanks for sharing these thought-provoking insights. My next question is to Arunachalam. I think as Kamal has highlighted that the tech foundation is very important, right? When organizations try to get the tech foundation right, what is the single biggest mistake they typically make?
Yes, because ERP was the buzzword about 20 years back. Now it's no more ERP. ERP is required to run the business. It's become a transactional system, no more. It needs to be a decision-based system. That's what people are looking for that. You have huge data, but what are you going to do with the data? Because earlier, maybe organization trying to streamline the legacy to the best practices, whatever you call it as. Now things have changed now. Now you need to be vibrant, you need to be relevant to the market. That's the reason the data is there, but how effectively use the data and how maybe operation, or you talk about procurement or logistics, how this data can be used wisely and it will help in the day-to-day operations. That's what now ERP also changing the trend, and even organization also trend. If you don't do that, you don't be relevant in the market. That's what you were talking about next 5 years. How to see that, because you have so much data, but how these data are effectively used, whether you call it as AI or you call it as in digital, but it need to be there. If you don't do that, you cannot be relevant in the market.
And if I ask you, let's compare two cases. One is the retailer, which is relying heavily on dashboards only, and then there is a retailer which is using data for decision making. How different they? What is the key difference between them? Like how ahead is the retailer which is able to use data for decision making?
Yes, you need to have a dashboard. Of course, you need to understand what's going on. That's okay. But the decision point, now I think Kamal also mentioned rightly, the AI is going to drive. Because your regular day-to-day activities, definitely AI will take over. because you need to adopt that only. Because your monotonous work, what you have been doing, she was also mentioning about the store guys been doing the, if you talk about inventory replenishment, that the merchandisers go there and he used to fill the paper, and the days are gone now. Now he doesn't need to spend time on that. He has to spend on time how to improve the customer centricity, we have to improve on that. Then how to improve my wastages, that's what the store shrinkages part. Then promotion effectiveness, because now everybody running begin promotions. Now how we can do that also. Instead of spending time on how to fill my shelf, how to spend time on with my operational activities, the trend will shift to that, from this regular activity to the decision based.
So can I say that a retailer which is relying only on dashboard must be 5 years or 10 years behind than the retailer which is using data for decision making?
Yes, you how to be, if you don't do that, you will not be relevant to market.
You won't be relevant. That's a very big statement. I think you have highlighted one thing is that AI will play a key role, right? So on that note, Sasti, my next question is, you have seen the whole market, right? You have seen, I think you have been in this industry for some time and have seen ups and downs, right? So where do you see right now the AI or the new frontier tech delivering results today, and what still feels like a hype?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So definitely we can see that AI is adding value to retail. Specifically, what I have seen over a period of time is three big areas. First of all, the entire retail life cycle, right? So starting from the pre-season processes like merchandise financial planning, assortment planning, product life cycle management, to your in-season processes, initial allocation, replenishment, markdown, markup, and all the way to warehouse management system, transport management system, and then last mile delivery, labor management system. All of these are getting impacted by AI. Now, earlier, definitely all of these things used to be done manually. Now AI is completely taking this over and making things easier, as our fellow colleagues have already mentioned, that how the real-time decisioning is possible at the store level right now, right? So that is one part I can see. The second one is personalized marketing for consumers. So now AI is strong enough to segment the customer base, predicting the next best offer, predicting churn. So this can be done in a way, in a particularly a pretty quick way, that a broader approach earlier, which used to be for targeting customers, has completely narrowed down to a very, very targeted and relevant offer kind of communication, right? So there is one area we can see that how AI is impacting directly the consumers, and obviously, the businesses are being able to get incremental revenue or incremental ROI from that. The third one is operational efficiency through automation, right? So over here, AI plays the most silent role, but the most powerful role. So be it HR processes, be it finance processes, be it your supply chain merchandising processes, all of it can be completely automated, definitely keeping human oversight or human in loop, to an extent that it is saving times like from days to couple of hours, right? So these three areas I have seen over a period of time how we have started 10 years back in the retail sector, and how it has navigated the whole path of AI, and where we are exactly. I can say these three areas are the biggest impactful area.
Thanks for sharing these insights. I think on the last point, as you mentioned, right, the operational efficiency, obviously AI will play a critical role in improving the efficiency of the organization. So my next question is to Shaikh. Grocery is a very high speed business, right, which keeps on changing at a very rapid pace. And we have multiple pillars within grocery, right? One is your grocery stores, Second is more around supply chain. The third is the e-commerce angle. So where do you see the AI impact to be maximum in these 3-4 pillars?
See, AI currently has occupied each and every space, okay? Whether it is on e-commerce, whether it is on a grocery on-prem stores, okay, or whether it is on loyalty, each and every place, AI is playing very critical role. And at the same time, we have to be very cautious, okay, when integrating the artificial intelligence and machine learning into our systems. As you know, according to the recent study from the MIT, okay, uh, around 90% of the Gen AI projects fail at the development stage. They don't even reflect on their P&L. Okay, so we have to be very cautious to ensure that the artificial intelligence, gives a proper return on investment. Okay, so when it comes to the role of AI in the grocery business, it's playing a very critical role or a very significant role in terms of suggesting what kind of promotions that we have to generate based on customer behavior. Okay, it is no longer what the customer has purchased in the past, but we have moved to the next stage. What the customer can buy potentially, okay, based on his previous purchase patterns. Okay, and another important thing is driving the profitability. Okay, and AI can suggest you the promotion recommendations and also what has worked and what has not worked. Okay, most of the retailers, they have data, dashboards, and decision and stops. But with the advent of AI, the pattern has completely shifted. Data, recommendation, action, outcome, learning, okay, and what the next alternative suggestion based on whether the previous recommendation has worked or not. Okay, so most of the retailers, over-invest on the AI, okay, but under-invest in the decision-making design. Okay, so and there are versatile benefits of artificial intelligence and machine learning, whether it is in supply chain. When it comes to the supply chain, now the retailers, okay, in the past used to get the reports the next day. Okay, for example, the tomato sales has been dropped yesterday. And the next day morning, the retailers see the report and take the action. The problem here is the delay in execution. With the help of AI, now it is event-driven decision making. We have started the promotion at 9 o'clock in the morning. 11 o'clock start got finished. System, AI-enabled system, okay, creates an alert, generates an action, store manager reviews it and approves it. So decision is happening when the customer is on the floor, not that something that happened yesterday and now people are sitting and see what to do next.
Great, great. I think you have highlighted a very good point that everything has become much more real time. And now the process has also changed significantly, right? Now it's more about data, recommendation, action, and then you learn and then repeat, right? So I think The whole dynamics have changed significantly. But AI brings speed, right? But speed is dangerous without brakes, right? We need some trust foundations in the system, right? So Umesh, next question to you, right? I think as you have highlighted that there's a increasing need of customer wanting a personalization, but at the same time they don't want to get spied on, right? So how do you balance AI-led personalization with customer need for privacy?
Uh, I mean, this is $1 million question, and everybody wants to have that balance between where the intrusion stops and where the personalization becomes something which is really relevant to me. See, what we have adopted in our organization, and it comes from top down, is that whenever you have a data of a customer, primarily rely on a zero party or a first party data. Don't unnecessarily capture information and try to use that information. That is the first part, very simple part. The second part is, unless and until we see a value in that personalized activity, and that comes to a point of learning and action, that personal information should not be collected. For example, I will give you a bad example first and a good example. A bad example is that you, via your app, you keep on collecting the location information of a customer, and you use that location information just to send a push to a customer when he comes to near your store or he goes to your competition. I mean, that's an intrusion of privacy. Rather, using the data to predict, for example, there's a mom and she has a baby who is 4 months old and she started buying diapers. So she's buying a size 0, size 1 diaper. Now you know the journey of the baby will go from size 1 to size 2 to size 3. How you can use that data information that as soon as a person is purchasing this product, I put them into a flow wherein as soon as the kid is turning 6 months old, I kind of nudge the customer that, you know, congratulations, your kid is growing. Why don't you move to a next stage of a diaper? Okay. So that's a kind of a personalization recommendation wherein you really value a customer's trust and they feel that this personalization is made for me. So that is very important. Second, I think is more important, moving away from marketing, is the operational part. So you can have a great marketing communication, but whether that communication ties up with your operational efficiencies or not. For example, that you have a very nice AI bot on your app, and this bot is used, I mean, we haven't dwelled into it, but this bot is used to, let's say, get a right kind of a floor for a customer. So there's an NLP-based processing. Okay, I want to build a cake and then recommend me. So a bot suggests, okay, buy this product. It's available, it's shown on the e-commerce app. But back in the store where the product has to be picked, there is no real-time inventory check happening, and there the product has become out of stock. So you have a very good AI product which kind of talks to a customer, but your operational efficiencies, you are not putting AI there to get a real-time inventory outcome. So there's a gap, so you mislead a customer and you kind of intrude their privacy and you're not able to fulfill that particular interest. I think that is becoming very important in retail landscape.
Yeah, I think keeping a balance between the personalization and the privacy is one of the critical aspect, right, that all retailers must be trying to solve, right? So I think we are running short on time. I think it's already, the time is up. But my last question is for Kamal, right? As we scale the tech ecosystem or as we scale the frontier tech such as AI, the attack surface also grows, right? So what are the 2-3 cybersecurity controls that you consider absolutely important before scaling any kind of new tech or AI?
I think in the world of AI, given the exposures and the attack surface that an organization essentially undertakes, if you will, by going down that path, is myriad. I mean, the exposure is increasing significantly. However, that said, I think some of the guardrails and elements of security that one should be mindful of would include, number one, where is your data residency going to be, if you will, because data is going to be leveraged more extensively than what has been done in past. But protecting the data, if you will, your high value asset data is going to be a mandate, if you will, if not anything else. And the controls around, encrypting it, making sure that it's protected, the RBAC models are in place, right people have right access to it. I think those elements will have to kick in. So that's number one. Number two is around, making sure that the confidentiality of the customers as well as everyone that we are obligated to serve and protect is going to be extremely important. And that is not just related with data, but also with touch points. So the interfaces that we expose out will have to be protected as well. And that is going to be extremely important because the threat vectors that we see today are either going to come through an outbound presence that we have created in a digital commerce place, or it's going to come through an internal attack that will come, if you will, through someone who already has a known access. And so you've got to really protect both these methods, if you will. Last but not the least, I think from a security perspective, it will be about making sure that there is enough and conscious attempt and effort made in making sure that every individual in the organization is made aware of the challenges that we live in today, especially from a security perspective. And I can't impress on the third point, which is, we are as strong and as weak as the links that we are connected with. And if we do not have the human aspect really strengthen up, no amount of technology or security can protect us. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to people for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think, as we mentioned earlier, right, people are as important as technology. Technology can take you from 1 to 10, but if you want to do a journey from 10 to 100, then you need a people assistance, right? So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone here for let us know that data is not about knowing, but it's more about acting on it, right? And my biggest takeaway is that the future, the retailers in the future would be the one the one which would survive is not because of how much data that they have, but because of how fast they can act on it, right? So thanks a lot to everyone. Yeah.